Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you. So we're coming back to Snake Eye, starting with our post-ban list build here for Snake Eye. So at the time that I'm currently recording this, and the time I played these games, the restrictions have not come into effect yet. That's going to be on the 30th, today's the 29th, and I played these duels on the 28th. So that's why you're not seeing the little 2 over Ash or the 2 over Wanted. However, as you can see, I am only rocking 2 copies of each of these cards, so this will still be a post-ban list build here. I actually didn't really end up changing my Challenger Cup build at all, for the most part, of course, except for the stuff that I had to take out, the 3rd Ash and the 3rd Wanted. I didn't want to mix up the build too much, because I don't think how the deck plays ends up changing too much here. And, you know, although I do think it is good to go over builds and make sure that they are still up to par, I mean, this one obviously worked out pretty well for me during the Challenger Cups. So, the 2 cards that I added to replace the 3rd Ash and the 3rd Wanted, I decided to add 2 more starter/engine cards, to try to make up for that. 1 for 1 is back in the deck. Those of you who may or may not have noticed, I've actually been off of 1 for 1 pretty much since Bonfire came out. I think of the starters, 1 for 1 tends to be the weakest. Not only does it require you to have a monster in hand that you have to send, but it does also require that you send the monster to the graveyard. So if you're under D-Shifter, or if your opponent has a Rise Heart in play, then you are not going to be able to even activate this card. Because, again, the cost is to send a card to the graveyard. If you can't pay the cost by putting a card in the graveyard, because everything is getting banished, then you can't play the card. On top of also just being, like, super big Ash bait, makes you more susceptible to draw and Lockbird as a deck. Oh, wait, no, sorry, this one's special, it's not ads. JK. But overall, you are a little more susceptible to draw still, because now you're a little more reliant on opening Bonfire, because you're opening that many less copies of Snake Eye Ash. I've talked about this before. I talked about it during the ban list video. A lot of people complained that this was a nothing hit. And while I've said it before and I'll say it again, yes, they could have and should have done more to Snake Eye, like maybe putting Ash to 1. I don't think that this is a nothing hit. Like, I've noticed, and anyone who plays this deck a lot is definitely going to notice the consistency drop of the Snake Eye deck. You will open starters just a little bit less often, which in Best of 1 especially, Best of 1 is the format where consistency matters the most, because you don't have games 2 and 3 to side deck, and honestly, games 2 and 3 to side deck, I feel like, is one of the biggest determining factors of who ends up winning, but yeah, no, you're not going to have that in Best of 1. So in Best of 1, you're relying on consistently opening both starters and disruption, i.e., opening a Snake Eye Ash plus a couple of hand traps as often as possible. And again, with 1 less Snake Eye Ash and 1 less Wanted, that is going to happen just enough less often that it will definitely be a noticeable impact. So 1 for 1 is in. Second copy of Original Sinful Spoils is also in. The idea behind playing a second Original Sin was that it's not only a potential starter, even if you open like a hand trap, you can just normal summon the hand trap and then go, the Original Sin, but it also can act as an extender as well. But I think what ultimately I'll end up doing is not playing the second Original Sin. I have it in this build, and in the games we're about to watch, I have 2 Original Sins. But if I remember correctly, you're also going to see in some of the games that we watched that there are a lot of games I played where, because I'm playing 2 of these, I just opened one and never ended up needing it. And I really don't like the idea of that. I don't like the idea of having an engine card that doesn't do anything because it's, you don't need another copy of it. So, I don't know. I've considered playing a 3rd Poplar again. I've actually considered that even before the semi-limits took into effect of Ash and Wanted, because there was more than 1 game I lost during the Challenger Cup because I opened both Poplar. If you're only on 2 Poplar and you open both, your play, I'm not gonna lie, ends up being really, really bad. It's generally not even worth it to go into Snake Eye Ash at that point. So it's kind of a catch-22 though, because opening the 3rd, or playing the 3rd Poplar makes opening 2 Poplar less problematic, but it also makes it more likely that you're going to open 2 Poplars. So I need to figure out if that's actually going to be worth it or not. The other case used for having a third poplar that did very, very, very occasionally come up for me was that in grind games where you open one poplar and don't have access to original sin, you often need the third poplar, or it's often very convenient, rather, to have the third poplar for potential follow-up plays. Which, again, that's a pretty niche situation, right? To be on exactly a hand that opened poplar and didn't have access to original sin, and then also still need to do a follow-up play after that, but it can happen. So if I was going to add another piece of engine, I think the change I would make is taking out original sin and putting in a third poplar. But I'm also considering just putting in like a third effect veiler, or maybe some other disruption tool, because I don't know if we necessarily need to be replacing engine with engine. Because even with everything semied, right, we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 starters. You could maybe count original sin as one as well. If you're only playing one copy, that's like 13, 14, 13 and a half starters, which is still pretty good. You know, that's more than a lot of decks have. So you know, you definitely can't complain too much. But extra deck is still exactly the same, especially if you're on Jet Synchron. I just think these 15 cards are probably just the optimal extra deck. I love Selene. I love Selene a lot. Nightmare Unicorn is something I've been asked about quite a bit, and it is very close to making the extra deck. If extra decks were 16 cards, I think Nightmare Unicorn would probably be my 16th card. But honestly, between Nightmare Phoenix and Access Code, I don't really feel the need to have Nightmare Unicorn as well. It also feels really bad to go into a Nightmare Unicorn and try to out something, to devote a lot of resources to it because it's a Link 3, and then just have it get, like, impermed or, like, you know, destroyed or something. So I prefer the Selene as my Link 3 to climb up to Access Code, and then Nightmare Phoenix to take care of, like, pesky back rows, right? But, yeah, I think that's about where I'm at with Snake Eye. Again, I like post-ban list. I like this. Well, okay. Take out one of the original sins. I like this 39. The 40th card, again, I'm just up in the air if I want it to be a Poplar or another engine card or a third Veiler / another, like, disruption card, right? So, let's break the list down card by card, and then we'll watch some games. We are on 2 Effect Veiler, 2 Droll Mockbird, 1 Jet Synchron, 2 Snake Eye Ash, 1 Snake Eye Oak, 2 Snake Eye Poplar, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, and Joyous Spring. We got 3 Diabelle, the Black Witch, 2 Snake Eyes Flamberge, 1 Nibiru, the Primal Being. We got 1 for 1, 2 Triple Tactics Talent, 1 Sinful Spoils of Subversion Snake Eye, 3 Bonfire, 2 Original Sinful Spoils Snake Eye, although again, one of these is going to get cut. 1 Divine Temple of the Snake Eye, 2 Call by the Grave, 1 Cross-Out Designator, 3 Wanted, Seeker of Sinful Spoils, and then 3 Infinite Permanents. That's going to be our main deck. For the extra deck, we're on 1 Formula Synchron, 1 Borderlands Savage Dragon, 1 Baron de Fleur, 1 Lake Karibo, 1 Nightmare Phoenix, 1 Hita the Fire Charmer Ablaze, 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Dark the Dark Charmer Gloomy, 1 Selene Queen of the Master Magicians, 1 Promethean Princess Bestower of Flames, 1 Amphibious Storm Ship Ambler, 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, 1 Access Code Talker, 1 World Sea Dragon Zealantis, and then 1 Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. There's our list. Let's see some duels. Alright, first game is going to be a bit of a mirror match. Opponent is also on Snake Eye, but they are on the Kashtira build. They are also notably not on a post-ban list build yet. Again, I was like the 28th or 7th, I think, the day I actually played these games, so... but we have a pretty good hand here for going first. That is, we opened Snake Eye Ash. So, did also open Veiler, Maxi, and Callby. Callby I'm definitely going to use against my opponent's Veiler here. Even though I have one in hand, it's not ideal, but I would much rather have my Snake Eye Ash be live than my Veiler be live. So, also open a Flamberge. Again, not ideal, but it's whatever. Not that big of a deal. Alright, gonna add the Poplar off of Ash. Go for the Poplar for the Divine Temple. Alright, Divine Temple is going to get placed here. I don't know if I've talked about this, like, pointed this out very specifically in a video. I think most dedicated Snake Eye players probably know this already, but if you are playing Snake Eye and you don't know this, take note. So, It might look weird to place Oak with the Divine Temple here. You're probably thinking, well, wouldn't you want to place the Flamberge that's in your hand? But by placing Oak, we actually can set up a lot of protection, right? Particularly, we get to chain block the Flamberge and still play around Nibiru. So, for summon count, Snake Eye Ash is summoned 1, Poplar is summoned 2. Ash and Oak, that I just placed off Temple, are going to go off for Flamberge. That's summon 3. Now I'm going to link Flamberge and Poplar for IP Masquerena. This is summon number 4. Now we get to activate both effects. I'm going to Chain Link 1 Flamberge, Chain Link 2 Poplar. That'll chain block the Flamberge effect, so Ghost Spell or something won't negate it. Poplar will place the Flamberge in the spell trap zone, then Ash and Oak come out. Haven't used the Oak's effect yet, so I can bring back the Poplar I put in. Now Poplar can get linked off for Link Kuriboh. And then from here, I can just pretty much go for the standard combo line, right? Oak and Ash are going to get sent for my other Flamberge. I do have to summon this from hand. Not ideal, but it is what it is. IP and Link Kuriboh. They're going to make the Promethean Princess. Placing the IP back in the spell trap. Princess, grab back any random fire, and then we'll link those into Ambler Whale. So yeah, if you open Snake Eye Ash and nothing else, you should definitely be doing your turn 1 combo line this way, because again, this not only chain blocks your Flamberge Graveyard Revival effect, but it still sets up a Flamberge in your spell trap zone by the time you've summoned 5 monsters. So even if your opponent does have Nibiru, you still play around that too. Okay, so here I'm going to maxi when they go to add the Unicorn here. Ash Blossom is going to be activated in response to that, so that'll end up negating it. Alrighty, so they're going to summon their first Unicorn. I'm actually going to use IP Masquerena right now. I'm going to eat this Unicorn, even though I did think there is a chance that they could be the mirror match. I'm like, you know what, I can Underworld Goddess here. That'll proc the Flamberge, right? I can summon out Oak and Ash. Ash F and Oak F will both activate. Oak will, of course, bring back the Poplar. But I'm thinking, like, okay, even if it is still the mirror match, I still have the Underworld Goddess Graveyard negate. I have the Princess, you know, I have the Princess Special Summon F, and then I can also Divine Temple here. So they summoned a second Unicorn, and I was like, alright, I'm actually still going to use Princess here, because even if it does end up being the mirror match, and one of their last 2 cards happens to be Ash, like Snake Eye Ash, then I can just Veiler it. So I'm going to Poplar and place the Flamberge. Sure enough, they do have the Snake Eye Ash. I'm going to Veiler, and a lot of you probably already figured out what was wrong with my train of thought here. Guess who forgot that Veiler got Callbide? That was me. I forgot that. So the opponent's Snake Eye Ash is going to end up resolving. Yeah, obviously, if I had kept that in mind and remembered it, I definitely would not have, like, shotgunned all of my disruption against the first 2 Nightmare Unicorns, or I mean, Kashira Unicorns, because I did have it in my head that it could be the mirror, and they could just normal summon Snake Eye Ash. Again, I just totally blanked. I blanked that Veiler, that I called by Veiler, right? That said, I'm actually not, like, the most concerned here. Because I already have follow-up in the form of Snake Eye Ash plus Sinful Spoils. And, like, yeah, my opponent will get to go off a little bit here, but notably they don't have Divine Temple up, so that's already a pretty huge hurdle that I would normally have to overcome that I don't now. And yeah, they're making Selene here, and I'm like, this is fine. Like, I don't really care if you make Selene, because, like, you're going to try to access code OTK me, you can't. You can't do that. You don't have enough points to do that. Oh, they did have Divine Temple. Even with the Divine Temple, they actually don't have enough points here to be able to access code OTK me. Furthermore, they're going to use access code, and I think, let's see, they pop Flamberge, and yeah, I know they pop Princess here, right? The field spell, and then, yep, Princess, which this was definitely a misplay, because now I can Ambler Whale, and I'll just pop your access code, and now you extra don't have lethal. Although I will say, me summoning this Link Kuriboh was a huge misplay on my part, because now they get a free Flamberge. So, like, I don't know, I kind of can't sit here and be like, oh, well, that was a misplay, when they go to pop the Flamberge, when I not only misplayed by using Veiler, but I misplayed by summoning Link Kuriboh. And now I have to deal with a Flamberge I otherwise would not have to deal with here. I should have actually led... Well, no, I shouldn't have led with Sinful Spoils of Subversion on the Flamberge, because then they could have just used Divine Temple But now they're going to use Divine Temple to summon my Underworld Goddess. I don't really care about that. That's totally fine. I will need to get rid of that before they can use their Graveyard Negate effect. But overall, I think that's going to be fine. So, gonna chain block the Oak with the... and the Princess as well, because both Fs summon from Graveyard. So, I'm gonna chain block both of those with Snake Eye Ash. That way they can't use Underworld Goddess against either Princess or Oak. Ash, of course, adding Poplar. The Princess does target, so I can use that to get rid of the Underworld Goddess here. Alright, Poplar F to add another... Again, I just end up adding another Original Sin here. One of many games we're going to see me just holding on to both Original Sins. I really don't think you need the two, honestly. After this play session, I just really don't. Alright, Princess bringing back my Flamberge. Also, did they use the Divine Temple F to summon out... Oh no, they used Flamberge F to summon out Ash Blossom. Right. Because they already used Divine Temple, yeah, to summon my Underworld Goddess. That's right. Okay, here I can just make the Hita, and I'll just go for Battle Phase. Like, I could have, like, climbed a little bit more if I really wanted to. Like, this definitely would have been ample opportunity to, like, Zealantis OTK, but I don't like getting fancy if you don't need to. I prefer to just, like, go for the kill, honestly. Okay, there is our first game. Let's go ahead and see the next one. Alright, our next duel is going to be against Rescue Ace. I'm just kind of going down the list of the replays here. I'm just viewing them in order that I saved them in. No special order here, so we're going to be going first this time. Actually, I think we went first last time, too. We have Ash, we have Diablo. We also have one of the Original Sins. Again, just a lot of situations where I end up gripping both Original Sins and really not needing the second one at all. Absolutely going to Ash Blossom their Max C. It is also a little awkward that we opened Jet Synchron here. Because we opened a Jet Synchron, I can't... Because normally Snake Eye Ash plus Diabell / Wanted is like a full Synchro setup. But with the Jet Synchron having been opened, I'm not going to be able to get like a full Synchro setup. The full Synchro setup being Borload plus Formula plus Flamberge plus the IP and the Spell Trap, right? That way you can not only have the Borload going up for most of your combo line, but also then on your opponent's turn, you can Formula plus Flamberge into Baron, bring your 2 back, and then you'll still have IP as well. Here I'm going to end up still making the Borload, but we're going to have to go for Ambluale. Just going for Ambluale instead of setting up the Formula, which obviously not as good, but I don't think I end up using either Original Sin here now that I think about it. Because I'm thinking, like, especially if Jet Synchron is already in rotation, like, what do you even need to Original Sin for, right? Like, very occasionally you might need an extra body here, but... Anyway, IP plus Ash now going to make the Flamberge. It's Flamberge. Princess. I always call Promethean Princess Flamberge. Princess will bring back the Flamberge, and then that will set up the IP in our Spell Trap Zone, and then we'll make the Ambluale, like I said, and just pass over. So yeah, even if you do open up the Jet Synchron, you can still make the Borload, but rather than formulate into Flamberge, or Formula plus Flamberge into Baron, you end on the Ambluale instead. I'm pretty sure there wasn't, I don't think there was a way for me to do both. Maybe there was, though. Maybe if I, like, oaked for the Formula or something? If I could have made that work? I don't know. Anyway, looks like they're gonna Bonfire for Poplar for the Original Sin. Is that right? Yeah, they use Bonfire. Poplar plays itself. Original Sin gonna send off the Poplar in the Spell Trap for Hydrant, so obviously we know now that it is Rescue Ace. You'll notice I didn't use Divine Temple until after they played the Hydrant. That's because I thought it was against a mirror match, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. One of the many things I see people doing in Snake Eye mirrors that I think is a little bit of a misplay is I see a lot of people just shotgunning the Divine Temple summon like as soon as possible, even if they know they're in a mirror match, which you should definitely hold on to it in a mirror match if possible, because Divine Temple can actually be really good disruption against a lot of your opponent's stuff, including often their own Divine Temple as well. But yeah, once I knew for sure that it was Rescue Ace, obviously, because they summoned Hydrant, I'm just going to make the format Apo here. Alright, so now Link Rebo and the negated Hydrant are going into Hita, which I think I actually just Promethean Princess. I don't even Apo. Yeah, I'm just going to Promethean Princess, because, like, I'm not really summoning anything else here. And I also can just negate the search with Appaloosa, which I'm going to do right now. Also, you'll notice earlier that I used my Borlo negate on the alert. Normally, I like to hold on to Omnis for, like, counter plays, I guess. Well, it's so situationally dependent, but, I don't know. There, I saw the alert as, like, a potentially pretty threatening follow-up play, particularly because they have the Hydrant on the field. I really just did not want them to add, like, a Turbulence or a Preventer that I would have to deal with. I thought that the format Apo was going to end up being enough to deal with whatever they could throw out, and I did end up being correct here. So, yeah, the Omni Negates, you do have to be a little smart about when you use them, but, I don't know. I think a lot of the time it just kind of comes down to, like, what I ask myself is, how much does this matter? Like, if this resolves, will I end up caring? And with the alert, I decided, yeah, that's annoying enough. I really don't want that to resolve. So, a couple more games to watch. Let's see the next one. Alright, got another mirror match here. It's funny, I feel like I only start to run into a lot of Snake Eye when I queue up Snake Eye. Which I'm sure everyone who's not on Snake Eye is grateful to not have to play against the deck. But anyway, gonna be going second this time. We did Open Sea and Veiler, as well as Bonfire, so I'm definitely not too terribly concerned. They're gonna lead with the Snake Eye Ash. I'm absolutely going to use the Effect Veiler against it here. And it does, in fact, end up resolving. Alright, they're going to use the triple attack to hand rip me, though. This can be a little bit of a problem because we do have the Bonfire we would very much like. However, as soon as I saw them link off their Snake Eye Ash, I was like, oh, okay, so I can just make plays here. And you might be wondering, well, Hex, how did you know you could make plays before you even drew for a turn? Drawing Sinful Spoils of Subversion. Here's how. I'm going to summon the Jet Synchron. Jet Synchron I can link off for, of course, Link Rebo. Now I can bring back my Jet Synchron by pitching one of my extra Maxis here. Oh, that's right, they concede so early into this line, though. Ah, I thought they went on. I knew they conceded in the middle of me doing this little comeback play, but I didn't remember it being that early. Oh, well, I'll still explain what I was going to do here. So, if you're in a situation where you only have Jet Synchron, but you're playing against a mirror/rescue ace that has a Snake Eye monster in the graveyard, what you can do is you can summon the Jet Synchron, link it off for Link Rebo, pitch one, bring the Jet Synchron back, then link for Hita, and then Hita would have brought back my opponent's Snake Eye Ash to search Poplar, boom, then I have plays. That's a hand that I think a lot of players have just written off as dead. Like, and the main reason I wanted to show this too is that I almost did the same thing, right? Especially if you're playing ranked ladder and not in hardcore focus mode in the tournament, especially if you've got like a YouTube video or something, you know, distracting running on the side, which I won't lie, I did. It's really easy to be like, oh, I don't have gas. I'll just, I don't know, set Jet Synchron and pass. But, you know, as I was actually about to do that, then I had that moment where I was like, wait a second. Does my opponent have a Snake Eye Ash in the graveyard? So, you know, it pays. I find a lot of the time when I make crucial misplays, I feel like if I would have just thought about it for 5 to 10 more seconds, I would have thought of the misplay. That happens to me a lot when I make misplays. So I think it becomes very good practice to stop and really think about the plays that you're doing. But we do have one more game to see that should definitely be longer than this one. So let's take a look at that here. Okay, final duel is going to be against Blade. I don't know why I said the user's name. It's going to be against Snake Eye. I don't know. Maybe Blade is a known person. I don't know. But, yeah, another mirror match here. So, taking the first turn, opening both Original Sins. Again, I don't like playing two of these. I don't think it's the right call. Not that I'm seeing a lot of people say, oh, you got to jam a second Original Sin, but again, it was my first thought, and I just did not enjoy it. I did not enjoy playing a second Original Sin, so wanted to give a fair warning for others who were because in theory, right, it should seem like it's the right call to make, but it just ends up not being. So, gonna pitch one of my Original Sins for the Diabell here. Gonna use the Diabell F to set the another Wanted. So I could have used the Original Sin effect here. Actually, I should have, now that I think about it. I probably should have used the Graveyard Effect of Original Sin to add Ash, and then drawn, and then normal summon Snake Eye Ash, and then still had the Diabell on the field, as well as OSS in hand. Yeah, that would have been smarter, looking back here, but not that big of a deal. We're still just going to go for a pretty standard turn 1 combo line. Again, going to place Oak in the Spell Trap and do it this way. This is again, that's something that I thought a lot of Snake Eye players do, but I also see a lot of Snake Eye opponents not doing this setup. So, again, by placing Oak with the Divine Temple, and then going into Flamberge, and then linking Poplar and Flamberge off, you, once again, not only chain block your Flamberge F to bring itself back, but still set the Flamberge up in the Spell Trap by the time you do 5 summons for Nip. Another thing that I actually like about the line is that it pulls both Flamberges out of your deck, so you don't end up top decking one of them, which obviously you don't have like the best odds in the world to do that, but it's nice that you don't have to worry about that. Okay, gonna bring back the Ash, go for Ambluale, set this Imperm, and then pass over to our opponent in a moment here. Alright. Their turn, draw phase, Flamberge, bring back the IP. That's another oh, and that's right, they Twin Twistered here. So here's the thing. This is a really cute tech against both, I imagine, Rescue Ace and the Mirror. I don't think it's correct. Now, we're even in a situation where Twin Twisters is at its optimal for my opponent, where they're using it on the Divine Temple and the IP. I still don't think this tech is correct, because as you're about to see, I really don't have too much trouble playing, even though the Twin Twister is resolved, for the best 2 targets against my matchup here. I don't understand. Like, I see, this is something I've seen people talk about before, like, maining Spell Trap Hate for Snake Eye. Even Cosmic Cyclone, which banishes, I think is not good either. But the other thing about Twin Twister that I'm really not a big fan of is that, I don't know, it's like, again, you know, I encountered this in the Challenger Cup too. Like, I remember playing against a TG Snake Eye deck that was on 3 Lightning Storm and also 3 Evenlies. It's like, you know, I understand not wanting to get hit by stun, right? But at the same time, there comes a point when you're just, like, deck building too hard around it. And I think that this is a case of deck building too hard around it. Now, you might make an argument that, like, well, you know, the Twin Twisters is useful for other matchups, like this one here. But again, as I'm about to demonstrate, my opponent, who resolved the best possible Twin Twisters you could against my deck, is still not even able to stop the most bare bones combo line of my deck with that Twin Twisters. So, I just don't think it's worth it. Cosmic Cyclone, I think I called it Galaxy Cyclone. Cosmic Cyclone, even less so. I think it's even less worth. Cosmic Cyclone, I maintain, is the ultimate noob trap card. Don't play Cosmic Cyclone in Master Duel Best of 1. It's literally never correct. It's literally never correct. Twin Twister, because it can pop multiple stuff, is, like, I guess, very slightly more understandable. I still don't think it's correct at all. I really don't. Oh yeah, here I'm just using the Wanted just to, like, stop getting asked about it. There's so many games where I end up setting Wanted off of Diabell, or, like, setting it as a bluff or something, and just sits there, and just, like, at a certain point I'm like, God, alright, I'll just activate this already. Okay, so here they're gonna make a Sunlight Wolf. This is totally fine. I really don't care at all about Sunlight Wolf. I don't think Sunlight Wolf is optimal in Snake Eye either, to be totally honest. Or well, I mean, Heat Soul is more debatable, I guess, but, like, I still don't really like the idea of Heat Soul at all in Snake Eye. It's like, I don't understand people who play Heat Soul over, like, people who are on Heat Soul but not on Kashtira, they're not playing the Synchro package. It's like, I don't know. It goes back to the same thing as Mathmech for me, where in Mathmech it comes down to, oh, you know, I could make the Singularity for multiple bounces, or I could draw cards with Heat Soul, and it's like, well, I would want the guaranteed disruption over the drawing cards. But, and again, same thing for Snake Eye with the Synchro build. I would rather have the Omnis over some draws, but Oh, yeah, so at first I thought my opponent was conceding, but it actually ended up being a time limit win. So that's something that I've seen people say a lot about Snake Eye, is like, oh, you always hit the time limit with this deck. But this is why practice makes perfect. As always as ever, I shouted out the Spriggan's Booty crew a lot, the group that I tested with for the Challenger Cups, and I think one of the best things that I got out of testing was just being comfortable enough playing Snake Eye that I can, like, you know, I can go with the plays. I can just do them because I know what to do already off the top of my head, right? Even in situations where you do have to think a little bit about when you want to use the disruptions, I still have a general idea of, you know, based on what I end on, when I want to use them. And I found that during the Challenger Cups, I was ending rounds with, like, usually, like, somewhere in the neighborhood of, like, 8 minutes left with time on round. And I saw a lot of Snake Eye players going to time and losing as a result. So I think that once again, it just super pays to know your deck and to know it well. And then you won't have to have time losses like this. Also, again, the Twin Twisters from my opponent, it's cute, and, like, yeah, I could see, you know, oh, if you don't like playing it stun, then yeah, bringing it. But again, you just gotta think about more than one matchup when you're putting in an attack card. Like, if somebody tells me I put in this card for one specific matchup, especially in best of one, I'm almost always going to think that's a misplay. And again, here, even where the Twin Twisters was at its absolute best it could have possibly been against my deck, still did not end up getting my opponent to a place where they could come back and win the duel. So that's going to go ahead and do it for these games. Let's move now to our outro. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end of the video. That means a lot to me. It's also a great way to support the channel, so thank you very much in that way as well. If you're interested in supporting the channel in other ways, like the very special patrons that I am thanking here, you can do so by checking out some of the links in the description. One of those goes to the Patreon, where you can join these fine folk and support the channel that way. I do post daily content over on Patreon, so you do get something for support there. And if you're interested, I also have a coaching tier option as well. Details again will be on Patreon in the link below. Also in the description linked below is my Twitch page where I stream a few times a week. You can go ahead and check that out, follow or subscribe over there if you ever want to catch me live. You'll also find my second YouTube channel if you feel like subscribing over there to watch some of the Twitch VODs as well as some additional non-Yu-Gi-Oh related content that I make over there. Again, any of those links you want to check out is all a great way of supporting. But again, even if you don't do that, just watching was also a fantastic way to support. And once again, I have to thank you so very much. But in any case, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out, and I'm hoping you have a fantastic day.